City Casino Hotel.
In Arkansas, of those of Maleah Davis, but we did want to make a four-year-old Maleah Davis. For more than a month, her smiling face has stayed on our hearts and minds as we waited for information about her whereabouts. Maleah was everyone's child, and I underscore that everyone's child in the city. And we hurt when we thought about what might have happened to her. It was just yesterday when others joined with Crime Stoppers of Houston to help increase the cash reward for the information that would lead to the identification or charging of suspects responsible for the disappearance of Maleah. The sadness surrounding Maleah Davis' disappearance has captured the hearts of our city and our nation. And I appreciate and want to thank those who continue to search for Maleah. But it was also time to find her and bring her home. This is not we don't yet can confirm whether the remains found today or the remains of Maleah Davis, but certainly we are trying to draw those conclusions. I want to thank, though, the investigators with HPD as well as other law enforcement agencies for the work that they have already done. And for the past month, HPD homicide detectives have worked diligently and around the clock in trying to solve Maleah's disappearance. And earlier this week, a group came to City Council to talk about how they were continuing to search for her and to ask for more assistance from the public. And I want to thank the citizen groups and all the citizens in this city for taking their time and volunteering their efforts in the search for Maleah. In recent days, men in the community have come forward to offer an increase in the reward monies to help find Maleah. This morning, we learned of a break in the case when local activist Cornell X told the media he had spoken with Maleah's stepfather, who stated Maleah's body could be in Arkansas. HPD homicide detectives traveled to Arkansas and are there right now trying to help determine if a garage bag found at the scene contains Maleah remains, but that remains to be determined. But we do know that the remains are someone's child. We know forensic examinations will have to make that final determination. Until then, we hope and pray those closest to Maleah will finally be able to have some closure and can lead to bringing this precious child home. And finally, I ask everyone to pray for Maleah's family, regardless of the circumstances of what you might think and believe. Someone is missing their child, and the city is missing one of its children. And now let me stop and ask Executive Chief Troy Fenner to talk about this case from its onset until the events today. Chief Fenner.
Thank you, ma'am. Good. Good evening, everyone. As the mayor stated, and I want to say, first of all, and most important, thank you to our great community, the investigative team from our homicide division. When you mess with anybody in our community, you hurt or you kill our entire community, and every man and woman on this police department, the district attorney's office, we're coming after you. I just want to say that Sweet Maleah's family has been notified of new developments. I want to say on the very front end of this presser, from me, there's some things that we're absolutely not going to discuss. The investigation from here is most important. So whoever is responsible for, if it's Maleah, it's somebody's kid. That's the most important thing, that we remain and keep the integrity of this case intact. So everybody knows on May the 4th, and Chief Acevedo has been briefed, and we've been in constant communication with him. As we speak right now, our investigators are on the ground out in the county, Hempstead County in Arkansas. They're working with those officials and also the FBI to gather whatever evidence that they can. Chief has been briefed, but we all know on May the 4th, she was reported missing. May the 11th, Mr. Darian Vince was arrested, and the mayor discussed some of this today. This morning, we did receive information that the body of Maleah was possibly in Hempstead County, Arkansas. We immediately dispatched officers to that area. They're on the scene right now, and I know the question is going to come up. How do we know it's her? I'm going to tell you right now, we cannot confirm. The only way that they're going to confirm that is through an autopsy and the medical examiner. So I just want to say that, but we want to be transparent with our public. This has been a nationwide story, an international story, and certainly the citizens of Houston deserve to know. But we're going to give you what we can and not anything that would jeopardize the case. That's where we are right now. They're investigating it. There was a statement made by the sheriff of Hempstead County, Arkansas. We'll refer to him as far as what's going on in that crime scene. But do we believe that it's possibly her? Yes. But can we confirm it right now? No. The main thing is pray for this family. A lot of different angles on this story. And we're not here to judge anybody. But we are here to make sure that that little angel receives some justice. And whoever's responsible, we're going to hold them accountable. We'll open up for questions. We're not sure that that's a county and another state. We're working together. Hopefully, with this kind of case, we expedite that and get that information as quickly as we can so we can bring some closure to that family and start our quest for justice on whoever's responsible. I'm not going to go into that right now. Everybody knows him. He's been working with law enforcement for years. So I'm not going to go into details of that. I don't know how he got there or what was said when he was there. I know that he did give some information of the possible whereabouts of this little angel. I'm not sure whoever's responsible for if that's Aaliyah. Yes, I anticipate murder charges, but who and when, I don't know right now. I'm not going to go into that right now just because of the investigation. As I said, don't want to jeopardize anything, and it's fluent. The investigators are on the ground, and I want everybody to understand that and respect that. When I say them, it could be one person, it could be more than one. But Chief Acevedo says this all the time: no stone unturned. We want to find out if it's one person that's responsible for her death, or if it's 4 or 5. And right now, we're doing an active investigation, and that's what we're going to do. With anybody that's responsible, we're going to hold them accountable. I'm not sure, and I'm not going to go into that part. We're just here today just to discuss and the new developments of the case. Chief has been vocal from the very start. Chief, with a lot of other leaders and some responsible. We know that he put up his own reward money, and that speaks to the person he is. This community, after over 2.5 years of him being here, you know he's extremely emotional, a good guy, and he's going to speak what's on his mind. He's mad as hell. All of us are. Everybody. That's a little baby, and if it's not Maleah, that's somebody's child. And you know how I spoke out over the past several years about when you victimize anybody, but when you put your hands on these little precious angels in our community, we're coming after you.
And I think from all indications, there are the remains of a human being um, there in Arkansas. I think what remains to be determined is whether or not it's in fact Maleah, this 4-year-old. The reality is that you have a precious one that has been missing for almost a month now, and she has a family. She also has an extended family, and we have seen the outpouring of love and support for Maleah and for this entire family, and it just hasn't been restricted to this city, but across the country and even beyond. Um, and all of these kids are our kids. You know, whether they're Maleah, whether they're Josue Flores, they're our children. And so, you know, to see the smiles in my own mind's eye, I can see it to this very day. What I will say is that we are still asking for information from people in this city who may know something. Okay, now that we have another piece to this puzzle, somebody may have seen either the person that's in jail now traveling to, for example, to Arkansas, or somebody in Arkansas may have seen that person, or between here and there. So that information is vitally important. So if anybody still knows any information, has any information, whether it's a family member, someone that's connected to this family in any shape, form, or fashion, whether it's a friend, a neighbor, a stranger who may have seen something, all of that information is still very much needed as a part of this ongoing investigation. But like you all, we want to know as quickly as possible whether or not this is in fact Maleah. I think that will certainly help to bring some degree of finality to this family, and quite frankly to the extended family in the city.
In Arkansas, 300.
Yes. No, absolutely not. And that's definitely part of the investigation, and we hope to determine that. Yes, ma'am. I don't know that, and I just know that we have the investigators there, and that's the most important thing. If it is Maleah or somebody's kid, the last thing I want to do is take a parent to a scene that's going to be horrific. So, yeah. No, ma'am. Anybody else? Hey, I'm gonna go ahead. Just as it's across state lines, and they routinely assist. But here in our Houston region, we have total support from FBI and our other federal partners. So whenever something is going on, and from the very start, they put in their support, and that's how we handle things here in this region. And so grateful for our federal partners. Yeah.
You also mentioned elaborate on.
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
You mentioned something about the investigation here being the most.
I think that the most, of course, we need to lend support and love to this family who's hurting, okay, or any family that loses a loved one, especially a kid. But what I'm saying, anybody needs to know, or any kind of rumors, or any kind of, that's secondary to us maintaining the integrity of this investigation so that we can bring whoever's responsible to justice. That's what's most important. So does that answer it? Thank you. Two more questions. I'm gonna get to you and I'll end with you. As long as it takes. Yeah, and I don't put a timeline on it because I don't know what's going on out there, but I trust our investigators. I told you our commander of homicide, he is out there himself on the ground, and we have a whole team. So as long as it takes, we need to get to the bottom of it and determine who's responsible. Yes, ma'am. Who was uncooperative? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Oh, the father. Yeah, I'm not going into that right now. So, and because I don't know all the facts. This was developed really, really quickly today, and it's still developing. So we'll get to that. But the main thing is processing that scene out there, and then, of course, when we get additional information, we'll certainly share that when it's time. He's out of town, yeah, but he's in touch. Go ahead. That's not correct. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Hey, I want to end by this and thanking our media, great teams, and our great citizens, the leadership of our mayor and every citizen in Houston. Whenever we go through tragedy, we all come out loving each other and standing strong. And that's what we need to do. Throw your arms and throw your hands around that family. Don't judge anybody. Let the facts and evidence go where they go, and we're going to hold people accountable.
I do want to in the attention that you all have continued to shine on this case, because I do think the coverage, the media attention, the community involvement.
You heard the executive assistant chief there with the last bite say, the facts fall where they may. That's a bite I've heard him say.
And we lost the signal there right at the end, but the mayor was just wrapping up that press conference there from HPD. Well, Mayor Sylvester Turner said, we know the remains are someone's child. And then he mentioned Troy Fenner, the assistant chief, saying, we do believe it's her, yes. And we confirm it's her, no. Right. That'll require a medical examiner.
Oh, we're going to try to
is
go
there,
back
is there
up
more
to
of
that
it?
News conference?
There is more. Let's go. Let's go back.
Yeah.
On Maleah. Thank you.
Well, as we were saying, they were wrapping up there just at the end of that when we lost the signal the first time. But
yeah, talking today about how we had a big break in the case. You know, we heard about how that happened. As far as we know, we hear from Cornell first that he's gotten a confession, and then here we're hearing later on we've got a lawn crew that discovered something. Right. We're hearing confirmation that's human remains. It's a child, and like you said, Russ, we can't confirm, you know, who that is. We just know that it's a child's remains, and they're saying officials, regardless of whose child it is, it's a heartbreaking discovery. And
well, I was going to say what nobody will talk about is what everybody wants to know. In addition to, is this Maleah? What about the mother, Brittany Bowens?
And that's almost obvious, obviously missing from that press conference.
Well, and we couldn't hear the questions really well, so someone may have asked. There were several times the assistant chief said, "I'm not going to talk about that." It could have been a question about the mother, but specifically out in Arkansas, the commander out there was asked as well. He said no comment about the mother. So
absolutely, and we haven't heard from her in a couple of days. No one has, but you know, they mentioned as well that this is a critical part of the investigation. So there's a reason why they're not answering those questions.
Right, and when Quanell X talked to us by phone a couple of hours ago, he revealed that the mother has reached out to him yesterday and today via text,
correct,
trying to get information about what's going on, and he has refused to respond. He said. But we just don't know what's going on with the mother at this point.
And Houston authorities saying we are speaking with the family. We just can't tell you what we're telling them right now. We are sharing details, though, to let them know what we know to a certain point.
You know, really the last time we heard anything from Brittany Bowens, and it was from Quanell X, but it was Monday when he came out and said, I'm no longer representing her. And in that statement that he made on Monday, and I think he talked to us exclusively at 10 o'clock on Monday, on Tuesday he talked to us exclusively. On Monday was when he announced that he was no longer representing her, but the statement that he made is, I don't think she knows where the body is, but I think she knows what happened.
Right, she's not telling the truth, is what he's saying, and that he could no longer support her in that way. And
I go back, you have to give Quanell X some credibility in this case for just what we've seen happen in the last 12 hours. They're not even that long, since late morning is what it seems like at this point.
A lot has happened just today. You know, since 8:30 this morning, 9 o'clock this morning, a lot has happened, and here we are. You know, there we have the scene